Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and today's report includes: are the Pittsburgh Steelers interested in signing a member of the enemy? PK Subban calls out Pittsburgh Penguins brass on a brutal weekend of games. The Pittsburgh Pirates get off to a hot start in spring training games, and more. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the first news story of the day. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers interested in signing a member of the enemy? The Steelers running back room, like the quarterback room, is going to be talked about all offseason long. Who's going out is pretty much set in stone, but who's coming in is a big mystery, with one new interesting candidate joining the list of potential targets. Back on Thursday, Odyssey Pittsburgh sports director Jeff Hathorn reported that the Steelers are interested in potentially signing Cleveland Browns free agent running back Nick Chubb. Hathorn said, "I'll throw out a name of someone that I know that they're interested in at least talking to. The medicals would have to play out, and obviously it would be a decision, but Nick Chubb is someone they'd consider. We're talking about probably a one-year deal, a prove-it deal, an opportunity to get back on your feet, but I know that there is interest." After suffering a second career devastating knee injury against the Steelers in 2023, Chubb returned to the field for 8 games midway through last season, carrying the ball just over 100 times for 332 yards and 3 TDs. Now, Mr. Chubb, as head coach Mike Tomlin likes to call him, has been a Steeler killer all his football life, but wasn't the same last year returning from that injury, making this decision all that more complicated. In my opinion, I would be okay taking a low-risk flyer on him, but he cannot be the only running back that the Steelers add this offseason. A rookie still needs to be drafted to boost the odds of at least one running back breaking out as a top option next year. What do you think of this report? Would you consider signing a 4-time Pro Bowler in Chubb, even with his medical history? Let me know in the comments below. The Steelers are adding a skyscraper tight end. Last Friday, the Pittsburgh Steelers made a minor signing, but the acquisition itself is massive in the literal sense of the word. The player signed was tight end Donald Parham Jr. to a 1-year contract. As a member of the Denver Broncos practice squad last season, Parham did not see any regular season action, but with the Los Angeles Chargers in 2023, the 27-year-old played in 14 games, catching 27 passes for 285 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those stats would have made him the second best tight end on the Steelers last year. Couple that with him being 6'8", 240 pounds, slightly bigger than Darnell Washington, and Parham will be a great addition in the Arthur Smith offense. Step aside, Michael Pruitt. Thank you for all you did, and I hope you find success elsewhere, but there is a new, bigger, badder sheriff in town. Welcome to Pittsburgh, Donald Parham Jr. A former Steelers safety announces his retirement from the NFL. Speaking of stepping aside, it has been announced that a former Steeler is hanging up the cleats. Yesterday afternoon, safety Keanu Neal retired from football at the age of 29. Neal spent the last season of his 8-year career in Pittsburgh in 2023, where he played 9 games, recording 50 total tackles, 2 pass defenses, 1 interception, and 1 fumble recovery. As odd and tragic as it may sound, Neal suffered a season-ending rib injury against the Green Bay Packers in Week 10 of the 2023 season, on the same play he had his lone interception. The one-time Pro Bowler was cut from the Steelers last offseason and couldn't sign anywhere else in 2024, leading to this decision. What a bittersweet ending to a career, but best of luck in your post-playing days, Keanu Neal. PK Subban calls out Pittsburgh Penguins brass on a brutal weekend of games. The Pittsburgh Penguins resumed league play for the first time since the Four Nations face-off break, and besides their tribute to the late great Mike Lang, things went, yeah. This past weekend, the Pens collapsed in the second period against the Washington Capitals to lose 8-3 on Saturday, and on Sunday, got more poor goaltending and lack of offensive production versus the New York Rangers, losing 5-3. The less said about those performances, the better, but ESPN hockey analyst and former NHL defenseman PK Subban had plenty to say about this member of the Penguins organization. After the Pens gave up 5 second-period goals to the Caps on Saturday, Subban said, "This is a poorly built team. They're undersized, undermanned, they're soft. They're set up to fail, and to me, the way this team is built is inexcusable. Against the biggest team in the league, they're getting outmanned in front of the net. You got a too small of a defenseman there trying to battle Tom Wilson, it's not gonna end good. Crosby deserves way more than this at the level that he's playing at, where he's at right now in his game, his career. This is not enough for Sidney Crosby to do some damage with. Mike Sullivan needs better players to coach. And if it's not going to be better players, it's got to be put together the right way for these guys to be able to have a chance to make the playoffs, and I don't see it. And for me, it's on Kyle Dubas. You're getting paid $7 million a year, that's what I expect. If it's a rebuild, then rebuild. If it's not, then we got to see better results on the ice. This is inexcusable for me. Alright, Subban did make a few accurate points there. The Penguins are an undersized, poorly built team, and Crosby does deserve better. However, him going at Dubas like that shows his lack of knowledge of the situation in Pittsburgh. There is a clear and evident rebuild going on right now that Subban doesn't see. The Pens currently have 29 draft picks over the next 3 years, 15 in the first 3 rounds, and 11 in this year's draft. Maybe that's why this team is so poorly built right now, to make those draft picks as high as possible. And the icing on top of all that is a replenished prospect pool featuring forwards Rutger McGroarty, Ville Koivunen, Vasily Ponomarev, and Tanner Howe, defenseman Harrison Brunick, Emil Pieniemi, and Owen Pickering, and goaltender Sergei Murashov. PK, I like you a whole lot more now than when you were a player, and you and I can complain about how bad the Penguins are till we're blue in the face, but don't question the direction of the organization. Like it or not, this is the best way forward for the organization in the short and long term. And finally, the Pittsburgh Penguins get off to a hot start in spring training games. It's only spring training, it's only spring training, it's only spring training. Also over the weekend, the Penguins weren't the only Pittsburgh sports team in action as the Pirates kicked off their preseason schedule with a pair of bangs. On Saturday, the Bucks hung a 10 spot on the Baltimore Orioles in a 10-6 win, followed by a 5-1 victory versus the Minnesota Twins yesterday. This was partially split squad action, but there was lots to like in both games. The big winners of the weekend were the Pirates' young prospects and right-handed starting pitcher Bubba Chandler, shortstop Connor Griffin, second baseman Termarr Johnson, and center fielder Matt Gorski. All 4, plus a few more, flashed their elite potential and showed fans that there should be at least a little bit of hope for the future. There weren't any big disappointments yet, as a few starters just got their first ABs of the spring, but things are off to a promising start. In addition to the 2 wins, the Pirates made the signing of left-handed starting pitcher Andrew Heaney official, among other roster moves. Heaney was signed to round out the Bucks rotation, according to general manager Ben Cherington, and will wear number 0, last worn by Domingo Germán last season. Man, the difference of flavors in that rotation should be fun to watch as they throw other teams' lineups for a loop. No, don't do that yet, Brady. We just need to keep our heads and not get too excited like last year. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a Monday edition of the Steel City Sports Report. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow with some more Pittsburgh sports news.